Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Just having an issue with one of my students. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming in. So you're having an issue with one of your students?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely talk about that and come up with some solutions for you to try. But first, I just wanted you to know that everything that you talk to me about will stay between us unless you're hurting yourself, somebody else is planning on hurting you, or something like that. So, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your student.
So it's Trenton. He's failing my math class and he never completes or turns in any of his assignments anymore. And when we're in class, he avoids doing work. And when I talk to him about it, he gets really disrespectful and gets an attitude with me. And then, so he's on an IEP, as you
Mm-hmm.
know, and he uses the education teacher, Ron, that we have in our class,
Mm-hmm.
as kind of like his crutch.
Okay.
And he's always up and out of his seat
Okay.
anytime he can
Mm-hmm.
be. And he's always trying to ask the special education teacher to get him out of class or
Okay.
get him out of his work.
All right, so let me recap that for a minute. He's not doing his assignments. He tries to avoid doing work in class. When you talk to him about it, he gets a little disrespectful, and he tries to get out of work by using the special education teacher as well.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Could you maybe go into detail of like a specific example that's happened recently?
Well, um, so he came into class one day without his homework done,
Mm-hmm.
which was no surprise.
Okay.
And I very nicely asked him to go work on it in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And when I brought him back in, he hadn't completed any of the problems, and he was trying to copy the answers down from the key that was on the board. And then I approached him about it, and he goes, "Well, I don't care. It's not like a 5-point assignment is going to make any difference."
Okay.
So during the notes, Ron,
Mm-hmm.
the special education
Yeah.
teacher, came into the room, and Trenton got up out of his seat during the notes to go talk to him. So I told Trenton to return to his seat, and he refused to take notes. And then we had the work time, and he tried to go talk to Ron about getting out of class again. So at that point, I sent him out into the hallway for the rest of the class because
Okay.
I just had enough.
So pretty much another avoidance issue there.
Yes.
How does that make you How does that make you feel when instances like that happen?
Really frustrated, and I mean, I can definitely feel myself getting angry and upset because, he's using Ron for a purpose that he's not intended for.
Right.
And I've tried to be nice to him about it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not working. And I've kind of just reached my breaking point to where
Right.
I can't be nice anymore.
Yeah, it sounds like you're getting really frustrated because you're trying to help, but he doesn't seem to be wanting to do anything.
Right.
How did Trenton react when you sent him out into the hall that day
Oh, he just
at the end?
kind of like his normal, just
So he
kind of
didn't
like
really
whatever,
care.
and
Okay.
didn't do anything. So
Okay. Can you think, is there because that was a really good example that you gave me, and I'm able to kind of get like the full picture of what's going on because it sounds like there's quite a few issues that we may be dealing with here. But could you maybe give me a second example of maybe another example of something that has happened recently, like within the last couple weeks or?
yeah, sure. So there was this one time where he was supposed to be working on a class assignment in math with a group, and he was doing a social studies homework in
Okay.
math.
Yeah.
So I told him to put the social studies away and to work on the assignment with his group. So he got defensive, asked how many points the assignment was worth, and I told him it doesn't matter. You're in a math class, you're going to do your math assignment. And I said, it's your job to work with your group during class, and you can work on your social studies after class is over. So he sat there and then doodled on his paper the rest of the class.
Okay, so you approached him to tell him to stop doing the math. He got a little defensive with his attitude again, and then continued to just avoid doing work afterwards. Okay. Well, thank you for providing those examples because that helps me to get a bigger picture of what's going on.
Hmm.
So I kind of want to look at maybe like the reasoning behind these behaviors. So what are like what I'm thinking is the main things I'm seeing, and correct me if you think that there's anything you want to add or any of these are incorrect, but avoidance of work, disrespectful attitudes,
Hmm.
and using the special education teacher as like his out. So it
Hmm.
goes like the main three things.
That's pretty accurate.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is it kind of sounds it kind of sounds like either a power issue or an attention seeking issue, but I'm leaning more towards like a power issue.
Hmm.
Um, so some things about that is like if Trenton is misbehaving because it's like a power issue, if he has like an issue with you being in charge of the class, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. One way to help that would be to give him like choices
Okay.
on assignments. So how do you feel about that? Like would that be easy for you to do? Is that something you could do?
I mean, I can make it work. I could definitely try it because, I mean, at this point, and I don't want him to feel discouraged in my class, and I don't want him to act like this. So um, if I could, I mean, I could definitely try
Yeah.
to do something.
Do you think, like, based off of what you've seen in your classroom, do you think it's more of a power thing than it is an attention seeking thing?
I think so because, yeah, I mean, definitely the way he acts around his peers, it's like he always has to be in charge of
Mm-hmm.
everything, and
Okay.
it's like he's the leader of
Right.
his group.
Okay. All right, then we'll kind of focus on that area then, and we'll go from there for coming up with a few
Okay.
solutions. Um, so, how would you feel about giving him like an alternate assignment for things? Alternate assignments for things.
Like, what do you mean
Yeah, okay.
exactly?
So, I mean, if he didn't want to like write out the problems, like he could videotape himself like recording, like saying the problems versus writing them out. Or you could have him do just like the evens or just the odds and like give him that choice. Because at least then he's doing something. It wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
the whole assignment, but he may feel that you're giving him a little bit of power in that.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I think I could definitely work with that.
Okay. Also, maybe since he seems to like going with Ron a lot out of the room, you could maybe give him the choice to do some of his work in his room during that period, as long as he comes to show you his like work afterwards, so he hasn't just been sitting in there doing nothing.
Hmm.
But if he shows you progressively that he's doing stuff in there, that could be like a choice of his.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, but I do want him in the normal classroom as
Mm-hmm.
much as possible
Right.
because I don't want him to use his IEP as kind of like, an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe giving him like a pass 2 days a week or
Right.
something to
Okay. Yeah.
go. And as long as he
Mm-hmm.
continues to do his work, then I could probably keep doing that with him.
Okay, awesome. Or do you give the students like any time in class like to do just individual work ever? Like get a head start on their homework or anything like that?
I try to, yeah. It just kind of depends on
Mm-hmm.
what we're learning and how long the
Okay.
lesson takes.
Okay, sounds good. So maybe even if you gave them like 10 minutes in class to work on something, maybe then you could send them over.
Mm,
Or like you said, just like a couple times a week. Because I totally understand what you mean about wanting to keep him, in your class
mm-hmm,
for the instruction, because that's important.
mm-hmm.
So do you think that those are some things maybe we could set some like measurable goals for? So working towards the options, um, and maybe giving him those choices.
Yeah, definitely. I
Okay.
mean, I definitely think that it would help him, and you're right that, now that I think about it, it is a power thing.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I don't know what he's like at home,
Right.
but I just know how he's been in class. He's just
Mhm.
going down a slippery slope,
Yeah.
and he definitely has more potential than what he's showing right now.
Right.
And I think he's kind of trying to use that IEP as an excuse and use Ron
Mhm.
to get out of things because he does want that power over me.
Makes
So
sense. One other thought came to mind too was that have you ever put him like in charge of anything in the classroom? Like you are gonna be like the paper passer outer, so I want you to do that. Or I'm when we go to get in groups, like I'm gonna have you pick sticks for names. Like maybe put him in charge of something, and then maybe that would help with like some of those power issues too.
yeah, that's a really, really good idea. I like that. I
Okay.
think that would be, he would like it. He likes being active, obviously. So
Yeah.
I think if he wants to get out of his seat, that's a good
Right.
opportunity to let him get out of his
Hmm.
seat. Come
And
up
that
here
would
and
be
pick
something really
sticks.
small to do too.
Right.
That wouldn't take away from anything else.
Yeah, and then he feels like he is getting that power because not everybody gets to
Hmm.
pass out the papers.
Yeah.
Or,
Right. Okay, sounds good. So let's just focus on maybe like one or two things for this session, and then you can implement those in your classroom, and we'll get together in like a week and check and see how those are going.
okay.
Um, so maybe we could start by this week. You could give him choices for his assignments, and that can I'll leave that up to you. So that could be, having him just do evens or odds, or letting him record voicing the problems versus writing the problems, just
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and see if over the course of a week his homework completion improves.
Okay.
And then maybe just the other idea about putting him in charge of something this week. So maybe just try doing that once.
Okay.
And then once we meet next week, you can tell me how those things went.
Right.
Does that sound good? Are there any
Yeah.
improvements you want to make with those?
No, I think I like those. I'm definitely gonna try to give
Mm-hmm.
him some more options
Okay.
and see what he does with it because sometimes it could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
So starting with that, and then I think I also need to talk to Ron and kind of get on the same page with him
Right.
because we have to be on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
or Trenton's gonna keep using him as an outlet, and then I'll feel like it's 2 against 1.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea that I didn't even think about when we were talking. That would be a good first step is to go and chat with him just to make sure you're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And then he knows that you're planning on giving him some options with those as
Right.
well. So he can be on board with
Mm-hmm.
that. Awesome. Well, I'm really glad that you came down here to talk with me about this. I know you're a great teacher, and I know we get those students that struggle with
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do work every once in a while, and so I think this student just needs a little push in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank you for self advocating for this and coming down here. So I'll see you in a week,
Okay.
and we'll discuss how these things went.
Okay.
But thanks for coming down.
Well, thank you.